Welcome back. Thank you to our sponsors for a great message. Next up, we got Buffalo Bills at Baltimore Ravens. The Buffalo Bills are -3 in the City of Charm. What says you guys?
City of Charm, huh?
Yeah, they call Baltimore Charm City.
Nice.
They still
Learn
let you
something.
live there. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills, man. I'm taking the Bills. Last week, in my five picks, I made a claim that if the Bills are ever less than double-digit favorites at any point this season, you got to take them. Last week, that formula did not work out for me. This week, I'm going to double down on it. Um, the Bills were the better team last week. It was just one of those weird games where they just couldn't score. They could get, they were able to move the chains and their defense was fine and everything. I think kind of Tua going out of the game and coming back kind of threw off a little bit of the rhythm of the game. He had a little Paul Pierce moment there where he just pretended to be injured or something and came back and played well. So in this situation, um, I'm gonna take the Bills. It's a big test for the Ravens. It's a very big test for the Ravens, and I think the Bills are a much more proven team. So I'll take the Bills, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Lamar's on a mission, man.
Yeah, he
To be
is.
honest with you, after what happened against the Miami Dolphins, where I thought that was an ain't no way Baltimore lose, I stayed away from them last week against New England, even though it was a very obvious. Actually, they could have lost that game too, but I low-key want to stay away from this. As much as emotional as I am, and as much as I want to get behind Lamar and the Ravens, I really think that staying away from the Ravens team would be in my best interest because you really don't know what's going to happen. This could be easily an AFC Championship preview, and both of these teams kind of have similar attacks in terms of like how they rely on their dynamic quarterbacks, and so it's just very unpredictable. And it's from week to week, it can be boom or bust. Even though obviously Buffalo has way more of an extent of potential than Baltimore. I can't. I don't have any reading on this one.
This is definitely tough because when I hit Buffalo right away because I knew it'd go up. I didn't know it'd actually come back down. So I think it was at 3 or open at 2.5. I took it at 2.5. And then it got up to 3.5 and it's come down to 3. And I kind of think 3 is a perfect sweet spot. A lot of these games are going to be, or not so close, but there are a lot of just equal teams that are matching up that we don't know much about. So it's hard. Like the first 3 weeks of the season, I feel like there's a lot of value. Right now, the values gap is kind of closing a lot. So you're kind of taking swings on some games. These parlays are going to be tougher to hit because you're going to miss on a lot more teams now. But one thing about Buffalo that I didn't like from last week that I thought was kind of indicative of what kind of team they are is they don't thrive in close games. They really don't. They for some reason their execution, I kind of think they're so used to knocking everybody out by 30 that they're not used to executing the little small details, and they get frustrated when they don't dominate people by like 15 points or 20 points or something like that. Last week, Josh Allen got frustrated and he tried to go 1 on 12. So I think last week happening is actually a good thing for the Bills because I think hopefully they learn something from that game and kind of diversify the offense a little bit, mix up, do something creative with the offense so it's not Josh Allen throwing 63 times. You can't have your quarterback throw 63 times. It's not a winning formula. So I'm going to take Josh Allen too. Also, there's a bunch of numbers that show Ravens at home, often against the spread win, are like 40% return for you. The Bills off against the spread loss are like 67% return for you. So just playing the numbers, I'm going to go with Josh Allen on the road in Baltimore. But this does, like Blake said, have a just sit back, grab a beer, and enjoy it. Don't put too much money on it because who knows what can happen. These are two of the best quarterbacks in the league. Anybody, it could be any one of their day. And if it's Lamar's day, they could win by 10. If it's Josh Allen's day, they could win by 10. So I still have questions about the Ravens too. Like that back end secondary is going to definitely need some work. I expect them to be better at the end of the season, but they can't run the ball. These are like this team almost. They feel like the same team. So it's
Dude,
going to be interesting
honestly,
to see what coach and what quarterback pulls it out.
I'm shocked that this is a 10 a.m. game. Like, I don't know what the NFL's thinking. They
They
should
slip.
easily be a 4 p.m. if not Sunday night football game.
Yeah, they slipping. I'm not mad at it.
Honestly, what you just said made me want to bet on Ravens, even though I told myself I wouldn't, because you said Buffalo doesn't know how to execute in situations where they don't have a comfortable lead. And if one team can keep it close,
0-7.
it's Harbaugh.
0-7 in games.
Yeah, if a team can keep it close to a fourth quarter nail biter, it's Harbaugh and Lamar for sure.
I feel like we're almost 1 week too late, where everybody knows that now, and that's kind of like one of those stats that got pushed around everywhere. It was low key last week. I took Dolphins money line in like one play, but I feel like I've seen it everywhere now. Like it's all I've been hearing. 0-7 in their last 2 years and one score games. I just feel like they figured it out this week and they kind of put that to rest.
The tape is out though. You just got to get the two high safety and make Josh Allen a dip and dunk kind of guy.
That's true, but it's also on Josh Allen too. If he really has the patience for it, if he really just maintains poise and has the patience and understands that's the way to win, then I think he will win. But he has to have the poise for it. So it's going to be interesting. And also make sure if you're watching this, check the health report of the Bills and Ravens. Check the health report because if the Bills get one or two guys back, I think that tilts the tide in their favor a lot. I think that's why the line came down from 3.5, just because Bills are missing a lot of people. But if they get a couple of those guys back, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, here. I mean, I think there's 4 teams within this game that we need to pay attention to. It's the Bills' offense and defense, and then the Ravens' offense and defense. All right.
This mother,
this man prepared.
One of those teams. One of those teams is not like the other. Okay, so the Bills' defense and offense, they rank in the top 3. And the Ravens offense also ranks in the top 3. However, the Ravens defense is dead last in yards allowed in the air to passing yards. And like you said, last week Josh Allen threw the ball over 60 times, right? So I don't know why Josh Allen wouldn't throw it 50 plus times again. This game when Ravens corners are weak, Ravens secondary is weak. I think Ravens do have enough offensive talent to score with the Bills. But they're going to be met with a very good defense in the Bills defense. So just because of that weakest link there, which is the Ravens defense, I think the Bills come away with a pretty easy win, and I don't even know if it'll be a close game. Bills are going to control the game most of the time. So that's my take.
What about the other weak link?
They might be they're missing like half their defense right now.
The Bills?
Yeah, they're like last week they had 6 starters out. One of their they got the best safety duo in the league, and one of those dudes is out for the year. But that's why I'm trying to keep an eye on the injury report. They get like 2 guys back. That'll make it huge because they just can't. It's hard to defend Lamar when you have like half the team is new on the back end. But man, if the Bills get this one, I don't know.
They also won't be able to. They won't be able to protect the league because they don't have a good run game. So that's the second weakest link of the 4 teams you were talking about. The Baltimore secondary and then the Bills run game. Both can be exploited.
Yeah, that's tough. That's how the Dolphins stayed in the game. They just kind of said, we're going to let you pass 10 times down the field. You'll fuck up one of those times, 2 of those times, if not 3.
Yeah.
But like Soja said, if they just start burning him and they can just put up 40 on him, I think the Bills can definitely win by winning by 10 or 14 is the way they need to do it. That's what they're used to. That's what they're good at. It's kind of weird, bro. I don't remember a team like I've seen this in a while that can only win. They look so good when they're on, but they can only win one way.
Kind of like the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors.
Exactly. No, exactly. You're almost not used to
And yeah,
I
so
know,
but
flip it.
I don't think the Chargers cover here, man. Um, Texans are at home. They're the home underdog. You know, I don't have much to say about this game to be very honest with you, but I'll stay away from it for sure. If I had to choose one side of the spread, I'm taking the Texans to cover the 5.
I like that. I feel that for sure. I mean, I think it's kind of suicidal to take the Texans plus 5.5. Honestly, I'm sorry.
Wait,
Did you say? Did he say? Did he say Texans? I thought he said he's taking Chargers minus 5.5.
Like that, but that's suicidal, my brother.
Yeah,
Crazy.
we just
are we gonna edit that out, or should I take the fork to my dome?
Hey, cut. Round 2. Nah, that's perfect. Go
yeah, I'm
ahead,
staying
Blake.
away. I don't no, I don't have much to say on this game. If Herbert is healthy, I would take Chargers money line probably. I wouldn't even take the minus 5.5. But this is something I'm gonna stay away from. I'm trying to get back to just like choosing like a couple games and just not messing around with the rest of the slate.
Yeah, no, I same thing. This is such a sketch game because the Texans are ass. They're just hot ass. They're just booty. But the Chargers, man, they missing half the team. They got their left tackle on IR for the year, done for the year towards bicep. Like Soja said, they got Joey Bosa. Not Joey, yeah, Joey Bosa. Another groin issue. Like this dude can't play more than 5 games. He's the Anthony Davis of the Chargers. Can't stay healthy. He's out. J.C. Jackson messed up ankle. Keenan Allen, we don't know about his hamstring. Herbert, like Soja said, did not look good last week. Looked like he was grimacing the whole time. And this coaching staff, I don't trust that they can. One thing I've noticed about the Chargers the last 2 years, they have so much talent, but they're not creative offensively at all. They're just kind of like Herbert. They're the same thing as the Bills. Actually, the Bills are offensively creative, but the Chargers just kind of like Herb. Go back there and you got a hell of weapons and chuck the ball and then I'll run Eckler straight up the gap. We're not creative with the run game. I just don't see a lot I can be faithful in the Chargers to kind of cover the spread. I do think they win, but at the value of -5, it's not enough value for me to take the money line. And then I don't want to bet Texans either because it's like this is Texans.
Yeah.
Even though the Texans did last year, but I can't touch it again. I'm just gonna stay away. I'm gonna be in pain if this game decides a parlay or something. And seriously,
yeah, that's a game that it's probably one we don't really want to watch. So let's move on to Seattle at Detroit. We got Seattle in the D. Seattle is plus 4.5 underdogs against the Detroit Lions. I got Dan Campbell and the boys bouncing back, and I'm not even buying no points. I think they're taking this 4.5 and just riding the ship. Amon-Ra St. Brown is ready to play. Jared Goff, he's gonna get right. They're gonna be at home. I don't see any reason why they can't cover the spread. And if they can't, then they're the Detroit Lions of the old. We don't need to even pay them any mind for the rest of the season. This is the test right here.
Blake's already getting ready to get mad. He's like, bro, they can't. They can't.
Yeah. I don't know about covering, man. Covering is a lot to count on for a team like the Lions. They might win. They're missing DeAndre Swift, but they do have a capable backup running back in Jamal Williams. And yeah, they're playing like they're having fun. So a team that's out there just having a good time, playing backyard football type of football. You kind of become more inclined to root for them. They are the team that America was watching on the Hard Knocks. We saw all their personalities and all that. So they kind of have a good energy to them. And sometimes that's all you need to win some of these games when you're playing against bad teams is, two bad teams. It's just a team with better energy that day will win. And I'll put my money on the Lions to have better energy.
That was the argument I used for San Francisco versus Denver last week. I got bit. I was like, hey, them boys ride for Jimmy G.
I'm using that same logic, to be honest, for that same game. Kind of feels like I agree with Soja. I feel like they'll pull it out. but I feel like it'll be a little bit closer than we think. The Lions are just Lions are one of those weird teams. Like, okay, the public teams are like the Bills, the Chargers, the who else? The Ravens, the Rams. Like those teams usually get a lot of money just naturally because their lines are usually like a half point inflated because they have a lot of people that want to bet on them. The Lions are one of those teams too. They're weird, like everybody loves them. So they kind of just want to bet on them. And we obviously know they've improved and they're a team that fights. So you want to keep betting on them. They've been paying people, they've been padding people's pockets this year. So I think they're 3-0 against the spread. Just any team that's 3-0 against the spread, they got to come down. So I'm just going to take the Seahawks here off the number. I liked it better at 6. Came up to 4.5. I think mainly because of the Swift news and Amon-Ra St. Brown not being healthy. I think that's why I went back to 4.5 because it was at 4 yesterday. But I'm gonna just take 4.5 and hope that the Seahawks make it a close game. But this is one of those ones that we talked about. I don't want to trust Geno Smith on the road against a Detroit Lions team that should have won a game and are coming home pissed and angry. So, but both defenses are ass. They should be able to put up points. It's kind of just like this.
Before we move on to the next game, how do we feel about the over 48.5 for this game?
I like it better if Swift was playing.
Because the Lions, I think hasn't the over hit in every game?
Oh, then I'm going under.
Yeah,
No, bro, there's just too much. Actually, last week I think it pushed last week. Whatever the line closed at 53.
Yeah, last week they put up 52 together. I don't know what the line closed at.
Close.
Yeah, every game the Lions have been involved in this year have been very high scoring. I have no reason to believe it won't be high scoring again. It's not like we have any good defenses out there.
Exactly.
So, but it's interesting because the Lions are opposite of the whole league's trend, which is the unders have been hitting for like a crazy amount of games. You know, it's like significantly more games have been hitting than going over. So, I would take the over again.
Feel it. I don't have a good feel. It's weird too because it's two defensive coaches who have great or solid offenses and trash defenses. So it's interesting.
But
yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because Detroit Lion games are always kind of like shootouts. So
exactly.
So next up, we got Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3.5 at home against the New York Jets. Zach Wilson is returning from injury and making his season debut. Joe Flacco, the GOAT, is going to be sitting down. So this might be a whole new Jets team with a whole new look, at least on the offensive side. What do you guys think?
I have beef against the Steelers. I'm not touching it. Go ahead, Andy.
If they shoot, man, I'm not touching it either. That's what I will say. This is one of those games, if you put money on, you might as well go ahead and walk through traffic. All right, you do not care about your life if you put a lot of money on this game. I take that with my chest. Bro, we have no idea what Zach Wilson could do. If this was Joe Flacco playing, I would take the 3 the road because I think the Steelers' defense is atrocious. The one thing about Tomlin's team was always the defense was good enough to win close games, and the offense was basically don't fuck it up. Now they're asking Mitch, hey, man, you might have to go out there and throw 35, 40 times, and because the defense can't hold up. The Browns put up, I don't know how many points on him last week. The Pats were able to put up points, and that's with Mac Jones and a bad offense. We don't know who the offensive coordinator is. So I feel like the secondary is looking real in shambles right now. Zach Wilson could either help them win by 15 or he could not put up any points. But I'm going to take the value on the Jets. They got a lot of weapons. They should be able to put up points on. And just 3.5, I'm just going to take the hook on there. If it turns to 2.5, I'll take the Steelers. That's how I'm feeling about a lot of these games. It's pretty much, I feel like they're field goal. The line should be a field goal. And if there's more or less, then I'll just take the other team on the other side.